The Action Potentials Analysis module is an add-on to LabScribe software. Here is a mouse compound muscle action potential data file that was previously recorded. To open the module, select Advanced, then select Action Potentials. At the top of the screen, the raw signal is shown in red. Beneath the raw signal, in gray, is the derivative of the raw signal. The data that was being viewed on the main screen is the data that will display in this view. Select the type of Action Potentials channel from the drop-down menu. There is an option to select a compound muscle action potential channel or a cardiac action potential channel. We will select compound muscle. Next, select the title of the action potential channel. Then, select the title of the stimulus channel from the drop-down menu. We will select our high-voltage stimulator channel. Now we can choose the data range. You will see a few options. Selection, which uses only the data between the two blue cursors. Average blocks in file, which averages all responses from the beginning to the end of the recording. This option is meant for data recorded in chart mode, but it can also be used for data recorded in scope mode to view a superimposed graph. Or complete file, which includes the entire recording. The next option lets you tell the software to ignore a certain number of action potentials. This is also used for data recorded in chart mode, mainly to exclude noisy early responses, test runs, or anything at the start of the recording you don't want included in the analysis. Next, we can set the parameters for how the software will locate the start of the action potential, peak start, and the end of the action potential, peak stop. The options include derivative 0, max or min derivative intersection with baseline, max or min derivative, and baseline. Setting the maximum derivative intersection with baseline locates the point of maximum derivative, which is the steepest upward slope of the action potential, draws a tangent line at that point, and then marks where that tangent intersects the baseline. From the Selection Start drop-down menu, select the point from where the program will start the analysis. The options include block start plus, peak minus, and stimulus minus. This analysis is set so the program will start the analysis at the block start plus 10 milliseconds. Next, set the duration of the baseline and the cycle duration in milliseconds. The cycle detection threshold sensitivity tells the software how sensitive to be when locating cycles. Increasing the threshold will include more cycles in analysis. 2 is typical for a data file with no noise. The stimulus threshold can be set to include or not include stimuli from the recording. Once all settings have been set, click the Calculate button located directly above the data table. We will now see the action potentials graph at the right of the screen, and the data table will be populated with values. In the center of the screen, each sweep will be displayed. Click on a sweep and use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard to cycle through each sweep. As we cycle, we can see the program did not set the start of each action potential correctly. Now, we will go back to the Settings tab and tell the program the time frame it should look for the maximum derivative intersection at. Let's set this to look between 11 and 11.5 milliseconds. We'll do the same for the peak stop, setting it to look between 13 and 13.5 milliseconds. Anytime any parameters are changed, make sure to click the Calculate button. Now, as we cycle, we can see the software was able to place the cursors in the correct locations. The Display tab allows you to select which cursors you would like to display on the graph. For additional measurements, such as H-wave measurements, 2 additional cursors can be enabled. They are labeled C1 and C2. These cursor measurements can be enabled in the data table for the particular cycle selected. The Results tab gives information about the date and time of the file and is not important for analysis. The down arrow in the bottom left corner of the action potential graph has options for graph display. You can view the action potential graph for the selected cycle or view a superimposed plot of all cycles. To view a superimposed graph, let's select Average Blocks in File, click Recalculate, click the down arrow on the graph, and select View Superimposed Graph. To go back to the main view, select View AP Graph. You can double-click the Y-axis to auto-scale or click and drag to adjust the axis. There are also options for copying the graph, setting the X and Y axis scaling, and exporting the average data from the graph. The Preset Cursors to Max or Min option is used when the C1 and C2 cursors are enabled. You place the cursors near the peak or trough of the H-wave, and the software automatically moves them to the nearest maximum or minimum point. When the cursors are enabled, there is also an option to auto-scale between where the cursors are set. Click and drag to adjust the sizing of the graph or pull up the data table. In the data table, a list of calculations for each sweep is displayed. Click on a sweep to view it in the graph. Scroll to the bottom of the table to see calculations for mean, standard deviation, maximum, and minimum values for each column. The data table can be copied or exported as a CSV or text file. The Algorithms button lists each calculation available in the data table and the definitions for how the software calculates each one. By clicking Table Options, you have the option to select which values to display in the data table. You can also load or save settings templates, although you don't need to do this every time. Just make sure to save the file after analysis, and the settings will appear exactly as they were when the file was saved the next time you open it.